Mother, her boyfriend sentenced in boys beyond animalistic child abuse death. Now, I've seen this covered on the news and I've seen some articles about this, but this is what I entitled The Faces of Pure Evil. These two parents, what they did to this poor little boy, would break your heart just hearing the details, even in this short article. I called them devil parents, but I'm sure other people, when they hear or if they read about this couple, what they did to this innocent little child, would call them a whole bunch of other names. It's just really, 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 really sad what they did to this innocent little boy. And they're not the only people that, unfortunately, that are out there that do this type of stuff to children. And what my thoughts are is, what about the neighbors and the people that live around these people that live close by? Did anybody hear anything or call or anything to intervene? Family members. It's just really sad. So I'm going to read this article and it's extremely heartbreaking. So brace yourself when you hear the details of, even in the short article, what they did to this little boy. So this is out of CrimeSider. And a CrimeSider staff wrote this article. So the mother and her boyfriend sentenced in boys beyond animalistic child abuse death. And so now hear that part. So brace yourself. Los Angeles. This was last updated June 8th, 2018. A judge sentenced the California mother to life in prison Thursday and gave her boyfriend the death penalty in the beyond animalistic killing of the woman's 8-year-old son, who prosecutors say he was punished because the couple believed, now hear this, they believed he was gay. Los Angeles County Superior Court Judge George Lomelli told the couple that he hopes they wake up in the middle of the night and think of the injuries they inflicted on this 8-year-old boy. His name was Gabriel Fernandez of Palmdale. I can only wish that it tortures you, the judge said. This is how bad these two treated this child, all because they felt he was gay. I want you to hear what they did to this poor little boy. Gabriel was repeatedly beaten. He was starved. He was tied up, locked in a cabinet, shot with BB guns. And once he had his teeth knocked out with a bat, the judge said. So the court records also detail that Gabriel had been doused with pepper spray, forced to eat his own vomit, and locked in a cabinet with the sock stuffed in his mouth to muffle his screams. Let me read that again. He was beaten, starved, tied up, locked in a cabinet, shot with a BB gun, once had his teeth knocked out with a bat. He was sprayed, doused with pepper spray, forced to eat his own vomit, and locked in a cabinet with a sock stuffed in his mouth to muffle his scream. This is an 8-year-old boy. This is the little boy, and this is his mother, pictured here at the right, Pearl Fernandez. She pleaded guilty in the torture and beating of her 8-year-old son, Gabriel. It is unimaginable the pain that this boy probably endured, Lomelli said. The boy also had a fractured skull, broken ribs, and burns across his body. Did you hear that? I hope you did. Because we have a lot of people that go around making fun of people and, you know, making videos about how they hate gays. Well, look what this couple did. If you didn't hear that, let me read that again, what they did to this child. Gun and had his teeth knocked out with a bat. And he was doused with pepper spray, forced to eat his own vomit, and a sock was stuffed in his mouth to muffle his screams so nobody could hear him scream. He had a fractured skull, ribs broken, burns all across the body. It goes without saying that the conduct was horrendous and inhumane, and nothing animals know. Gabriel's mother is 34. Her name is Pearl Hernandez. She pleaded guilty to the murder in February and the death of her son in exchange for a sentence of life in prison without the possibility of parole, reports CBS Los Angeles. A jury found her boyfriend, 37 years old, Isario Aguirre, guilty of murder. Hernandez called 911 May 22nd, 2013 to report that her son wasn't breathing. She told responding deputies that he had fallen and hit his head on the dresser. So they lied when they learned that he was dying of all the torture that they inflicted upon him. They called 911. They had audacity to lie and say he fell and hit his head on the dresser because they knew they fractured his skull. So Fernandez, when she called them, the paramedics arrived. They found Gabriel naked in the bedroom, not breathing. He didn't have no clothes on, with a cracked skull, 3 broken ribs, and BB pellets embedded in his lungs and his groin. Just sick, extremely sick. He died 2 days later of blunt force trauma and neglect, the coroner office has found. Gabriel's siblings testified the boy gay. They were. This is a mother making fun of her child. They punish him if he played with dolls and forced him to wear girl clothes. Okay, you don't like the fact that he might be gay, but you force him to wear girl clothes. And they forced him to wear girl clothes to school on top of that. Who does this? Who does this? So Gabriel's first grade teacher, Jennifer Garcia, tearfully addressed the court ahead of Thursday's sentencing, saying that she thinks of him every day and how he just wanted to be loved. This story is so sad that it breaks your heart. If you have any remorse, any empathy to think of what this boy must have went through, I'm going to say this. Whether he was gay or not, he did not deserve any of this. Any of it. And all of you people out there who think that this kind of stuff is acceptable, you should also suffer the same fate that these 2 people did. It's sick. It's extremely sick for somebody to put somebody through this kind of abuse. So it goes on to say, I find comfort in believing he is now at peace, Garcia said. And I know that unlike him, his abusers will never have peace. They don't deserve it. They don't deserve any peace at all. That's my comment. So they will have a lifetime of suffering to endure. And I know I'm not alone in hoping they experience the same abuse in their lifetime and maybe worse. Oh, they probably will, because if any of those inmates find out, and they probably know before they get in there what these two did, they're going to have to somehow keep them out of a general population because they're going to get theirs. They are evil people for what they did. I agree. Gabrielle's biological father, who's serving time for robbery, was also present at the sentencing hearing, but he declined to even speak. He watched the sentencing from his cell, reports CBS Los Angeles. And expressionless Fernandez spoke briefly during the court hearing, saying she was sorry and wished Gabrielle was alive. She also criticized the family members who have spoken of their grief over Gabrielle, saying they just want fame. A jail chaplain who has met with Fernandez told the court that she loved her son and is a different woman today than when she walked into the jail. Several agencies investigated abuse allegations leading up to Gabrielle's death. Garcia, the teacher, had called authorities to report that the boy had asked her if it was normal for a mother to hit her child with a belt, report CBS Los Angeles said. Yes. And so, on several occasions, investigators concluded there was no evidence of abuse. So prosecutors have since filed charges of child abuse and falsifying records against 4 county social workers in Gabrielle's death. Now, I saw this story like months ago, and the last part of this article where they were talking about the county social workers, I believe they wanted to hold them responsible because there were people who were calling them out, and they did not really look and investigate into this boy's situation. So you see earlier on in the article, the mother, she called the paramedics and she said the boy had fell and hit his head on a dresser. So what kind of, what kind of child abuse social workers are they to not have seen that all of this was going on? And then let me tell you something. I know a little bit. I know some people who were sort of involved in a situation similar to this, where they had DPSS, which is Department of Social Services, called out for their allegations of what they've done. And a lot of times what they do is they question the child. And before they question that child, the parents will talk to the children. If they really are, the child is in an abusive situation, the child's already scared and afraid. So they kind of talk to the child and threaten the child and say, if you tell anything about us, we're going to do X, Y, and Z. We're going to kill you. And so they kind of like rehearse what this child needs to say to the social worker. So when the social worker gets there, the child is so scared and so afraid, they just say anything that they think is going to be acceptable so that social worker can think that nothing is wrong. But two, the social worker is supposed to know the cues that this child has been pretty much rehearsed what to say. And I'm sure that, with all of the things that they did to this child to torture him, there had to be some bruising or something that they knew that didn't sit well. If you see a child and they perfectly sit still and they're not a problem, they don't act like a regular little child, they look like they're a little bit intimidated to say anything against their parents, then you might suspect something might be going on. It's a possibility that something might be going on, because usually when kids are rehearsed and they're told Okay, you don't say this because we're going to do this to you. And as soon as they would leave, we're going to do this and this to you. And if he had BB pellets lodged inside, this boy was suffering. He was suffering. He was in pain, excruciating pain. And it was on the inside. And this little boy was seeking some type of refuge or solace in some type of way. And it's so sad what he experienced. Nobody should have to go through this. Nobody. And I'm saying this. And, I looked at some of the comments. Some people act like they were remorseful, but, I don't know. It's just really heartbreaking to see that we've got these kind of individuals out there in the world who think that this is the way to be. And I'd like to add on to the story. I know that some people might not like what I'm going to say, but I don't care right now. This is supposed to be, I believe, LGBTQ Pride Weekend. And for the second year in a row, the Trump administration have not acknowledged it. And I believe I've heard or seen some articles where people were, expressing their disdain against that. That even if you don't live that lifestyle, or if you are not really understanding of it, have some, have some respect for other people. Have some type of respect. You know, Try to get along with others, even if you're not really fully understanding everything. Because to do something like this, to make these videos that people have been making against people, when people are not well in the head, or they're just pure evil, they see those videos about people's bias against people who are gay. And when they see those videos, they think, okay, I'm doing something to keep him from growing up because I don't want a gay child. I can see this happening in other households. There are teenagers that are homeless, that are in the Hollywood shelters, and they've been ostracized from their parents because of stuff like this. They've been treated with this type of abuse. But this is right here an 8-year-old child, people. An 8-year-old innocent boy. He wasn't old enough where he could just leave home, make a decision. I can't take this abuse. I'm leaving. Think about it. Think about it. Do people deserve this? Being beaten, starved, tied up, locked in a cabinet, shot with BB guns, his teeth knocked out with a bat. So does that make them Christians? Is that what it tells you to do to gay people, to do stuff like that? Answer that question. Nobody deserves this. And even if whether he was or not, he didn't deserve this. Whether they thought he was or not, he did not deserve any of this. They said unimaginable the pain that this boy probably endured. It is. They said his skull was fractured, his ribs were broken, he had burns all over his body, he was being tortured. This was daily. He had pellets lodged in his groin, BB gun pellets. It's just really sad. It's heartbreaking. And anyway, your thoughts and feedback on this story. This is beyond evil. Anyway, this is the mother pictured at right. And the boyfriend was sentenced to the death penalty. The mother got life in prison. And so you might see some other coverage of this. There are other articles of this, but I felt the need to bring this out because, I have you know, it's just really sad. I just don't have any other words to say about what they did to this little boy. But anyway, like, comment, subscribe, and thanks for listening. Nobody deserves to be treated like this, whether they thought he was gay or not. Nobody deserves this type of treatment. Thanks for listening. And if you don't like what I said, then you are wrong. You're the one that has the problem, not anybody who you think is gay, not any kid who you think is gay. You have the problem. If you think that this boy deserved this, then something must be wrong with you. Like, comment, subscribe for those who have sympathy and empathy and know what I'm talking about. Thanks for listening.